International, and we've got another kit from Modelcollect that we're going to look at today. This one, as you can see, is S-300 PMU, basically an SA-10 Grumble surface-to-air missile. And I can see that this one is also SP-85D is written there, and there's another version, the SP-85S. Basically, the D is a slave, the P85S is the master, and you can tell the difference. This one has basically storage area at the back here, the other one has a control cabin at the back, and this is with the slave. Basically, you'd have a bunch of these and one P85S to control them all. The difference between the PM and the PMU is the missile that's inside the two silos. Basically, the PM is the first version, and the PMU is introduced for the export market and has basically a better quality missile but a shorter range and a smaller warhead in the back. These were introduced, was it in the late 80s, I believe? Yeah, mid 85 or 85 was when they were introduced, and the PMU came out in 92. So that's basically the background behind those, and there's lots of these. There's about 3,000 launchers being produced. So let's have a look, see what we get inside the box. I noticed that the lid doesn't want to sit flat, so I'm thinking there's quite a lot inside there. Usual box from Modelcollect. Take it off, it's the usual corrugated cardboard, so it's nice and protected. And we have one bag, two bags, some wheels, instructions, photo etch, and decals. So let's have a look at the stuff as we go through. To start with, these wheels. It's a resealable bag, and they're real rubber. I can feel those moving, quite flexible as well. Those look quite nice. Let's look at the decal sheet. If I can get that out of there, it's quite snug actually. So the backing sheet around them is quite small, and you've got the numbers, well, a pair of 581s, and then a pair of the numbers 1, 0 through 9. So you've got two of each, two red stars, and looks like 1, 2. It's hard to tell here reading this, but 3 or 4 sets of number plates. So that's all good. Photo etch. Let's look at that. We have two sheets of photo etch. See, I've just pulled that one off, but hasn't damaged it. So I'll probably cut that off actually in a minute. So we've got a sheet of photo etch there, and there's the other one. They've got plastic backing on them to hold them intact. It looks nice. And here we have a sample. The clear parts, I'll put those up there like that. And they look very nice. They're flat, they're clear, no distortion when I'm looking through them. So that's good. I'll save the instructions for a second. So this is a resealable bag. So we've got the usual cab, some nice raised detail and recessed detail as well. Looks nice. That part's come off, looks like a mudguard. I'll put that in the bag so I don't lose it. Then in here we have those two are duplicates, and those two are duplicates as well. This one. So this is sprue C. You can see there's before nice detail. Sprue attachment points are quite small. Nice detail there. Ejector marks are out of the way. They're on the back sides of things where you're never going to see them. So this is sprue D, of which there is two, and this seems to be wheel hubs, basically wheels and running gear, I think by the looks of it. Again, some very fine attachment points. Nice small details in there. Can't even see the ejector marks, seem to be all on the main skeleton of the sprue. And these two are sprue E. That is there. And again, usual level of detail, small attachment points, ejector pin marks on the back out the way. So no issues there, that all looks good. That seems to be mostly building the cab, the chassis. Another bag. This one also is a resealable bag. Two tiny little things will come off there, I'm not sure where from yet. But we have one of those, two of those, and one of these. This is sprue J. It seems to be the bed at the back of the vehicle. Again, small parts. A tiny little bit of flash up there in that corner. That's the only bit I've seen so far. That has usual small attachment points. Nice detail. Raised and recessed detail. Back I can see a few ejector pin marks, but as I say, they're on the backs of things or underneath of things where you're not going to see them by the looks of it. So those are good. This is sprue G. Obviously the main makes two of the four missile tubes. Looks like you get the missiles inside the tubes as well as the end caps. So that'll be interesting to look at the instructions, see exactly what we've got in there. Again, the usual small attachment points where needed. No flash, ejector marks on the back or inside. So those look very nice. This is sprue H. And then back of the vehicle by the looks of it. We'll see when I look at the instructions. Nice detail. Attachment points look good. Ejector marks on the back there, so that's nice as well. And the last one is this one, sprue I. I'm not sure what this one's about, but it looks good. Looks like another wheel there. There may well be a spare wheel, because I know on the slaves they often store spare wheels at the back of the cab. So those look nice. These two little pieces that came out the bag with me, I'm not sure where they're from. I was looking for somewhere they came off, but I didn't spot it. Maybe I'll see it later, but I'll hang on to those. So, first impressions. Lots of small parts. Ejector pin marks are all in the right places, where you're never going to see them again. Small attachment points. Nice detail, raised and recessed. Notice you've got an engine, there's internal detail. So let's have a look at the instructions, have a look at some parts up close and see what we get. Okay, so let's go through the instructions and have a closer look at some parts. Interestingly, I noticed that the images of the instructions on Modelcollect's website are actually a little different to what's in the manual, in the manual that came with the kit. So we'll obviously use what came with the kit and start off with step 1 is putting the engine together and transmission. Some nice detail on the engine parts, as you can see there. Step 2 looks like small gearbox parts and transmission again. Step 3 is basically putting the basics of the chassis together, the engine, gearbox, drive shafts, things like that. You can see here I've got one of the larger parts going across the top of the screen, and there's lots of nice detail going in here, and the diagrams are nicely displayed, as you can see. Step 4 looks like wheel hubs and possibly brake calipers and things going in. And then on step 5, you put those onto the chassis we built, and that's kind of a trend through building up the vehicle. Seems to be build some smaller parts, add them to the main vehicle that you've got. So step 6 looks like fuel tanks and some jacks, and then they go on in step 7. Step 8 is mostly putting the wheels on, although I'd probably might leave those off till later if unless I was painting as I went along. The page step 9 looks like putting the bed on the back. It'd be interesting to see if we can fit these missiles in the vertical position ready for launching. It doesn't seem to say anywhere whether that's possible or not, but it seems worth a try. Step 10, mudguards and some of the smaller parts. And then step 11 onwards looks like we're starting to put together the missile launching rails. Step 12 is, again, you've made some starts of the rails in step 11, you put them on the vehicle in step 12. Step 13, missile launch pillars, putting those together. And step 14, putting them on the vehicle. Step 15, missile launch control panels, and then step 16, they go on the vehicle. Step 17 is we're putting things behind the cab. Notice in this, the slave version, we get a spare wheel and looks like some storage boxes that go behind the cab. In the other version, which we'll cover later, there's a control cabin behind there. And then step 18, you put those parts onto the vehicle. Step 19, add some rails. Step 20, we're starting to put the cab together. Looks like there's a pretty detailed interior as well, so you can leave the doors open. Step 21, those doors go onto the cab. Be neat to leave them open though, so you can see inside. Step 22, looks like you just add one piece of photo etch in front of the radiator. Step 23, you put the cab on. Step 24, another single piece goes underneath the cab. And then steps 25 is basically put the missiles together, put the photo etch fins on. I'm guessing these photo etch fins will be folded if they're inside the tube. If you're going to close up the tube, there's no need to put the missiles inside because you won't see them. Might be neat to leave an end cap off so you can look inside. So basically making the 4 tubes, and step 27 you put them on the vehicle, and we're done. And then we get the last 4 pages are 4 colour schemes. All of them have red stars on them, and the colour callouts are all by ammo. You've got there's not many decals on these. The red star, some of them have number plates. In fact, 3 of the 4 have number plates, 1 doesn't. Go from a simple colour schemes to pretty complex 3 colour camouflage. You also get loads of extra decals that you can use, so if you do a bit of digging around on the internet, see what you can find, you can do one that's in service with a different country. It doesn't have to be a Russian one. So, overall conclusion is it's a really nice kit. Think a 1/35th scale kit shrunk down to 1/72nd, and then you've got some idea of the level of detail. Should make up into a very nice kit, unusual. I think trumpet kind of reminds me of a shrunk down 1/35th trumpeter model, since they make a 1/35th scale version of this. So it should be very nice. Many thanks to Modelcollect for sending the sample for review.